What's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dawgs podcast. Josh, all your host today. It's the Tuesday episode of the podcast here in a very cold Ohio. I don't know where you guys are at in the country or whatever, but my corner of the state is covered in snow. It is blistery cold outside. So nothing better to do than to sit here and do a podcast for you guys and get some more content out today. I want to dive into primarily the suck of the Cleveland Browns, just this absolute infectious suck that has infiltrated the team, the organization from the top all the way to the bottom. We're going to talk Dillon Gabriel. I can't wait to dive into that conversation. We're going to talk Kevin Stefanski's press conference yesterday. Yeehaw. Another doozy right there. We're going to talk about the special teams and just how bad those have been for the Browns this season. But we're going to kick things off with some positive notes about some players too. But before I do any of that, we need to do the most important thing today is thank you to all the veterans. Happy Veterans Day out there. We appreciate everything you all have done for us. We know that there's a ton of you guys and gals out there listening to the podcast, watching the show, and we appreciate your support, but just know that we appreciate everything that you have sacrificed, your courage, your bravery, everything that you have done for us, for the country. It matters. It means more than we can possibly vocalize to you because look at me. I'm not the military guy. Like, I was not that person. I did not take that risk, and I appreciate everybody who did, and I always will. I will always be eternally grateful for your sacrifice, for the things that you have done, that you have given up, that you have risked. Like I said, just everything. Thank you. Happy Veterans Day, and God bless you all. So let's shift over here to the Brown stuff that we want to talk about. Excuse me. First of all, we will have another Dog Pack Discord live episode this Thursday at 5:00 p.m. talking about the preview for the Ravens game on Sunday. So if you want to be part of the Discord episode, you want to come be it's like a live call-in show if you haven't seen them or listened to them. And if you want to be a part of that, that's jointhedawgs.com, become an official Dog Pack member on the Patreon page. You sync it up with the private Discord that we have. That is where our awesome, fantastic Dog Pack community lives, and they're in there, we're in there, we're all together 24/7 talking Browns, talking news, talking Cavs, talking Guardians, the betting scandal, all this stuff, like everything that is going on. And if you want like-minded people to discuss it with, share it with, and just have people to talk to all the time, it's jointhedawgs.com. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to get into here today, let me pull up some notes. Actually, no. The first thing before I dive into notes, I want to play this voicemail here from Sean.
What's up, dogs? This is Sean in Thailand by way of Toronto. So shout out to the Toronto Browns backers. But yeah, I live in Thailand, and being 12 hours ahead means that I never see the games live, right? Kickoff is usually midnight or like 1 a.m. I'm not staying up on a Sunday night here to watch this Browns team. So it's Monday night now, and I don't even know what happened in that Jets game, but I'm not imagining good things. Anyway, saying that, I wanted to say that I really appreciate the podcast and the stuff that you guys do. I've been looking for a Browns podcast like this since Joe Thomas and Andrew Hawkins had their show, which ended abruptly like a few years ago now, because you guys give like real fan takes, all the official podcasts and everything. You know, they give fluff and they can't say anything real, but you guys do. And so being so far away from the action, I really appreciate that. Thanks so much.
Well, let me tell you, Sean, thank you for the voicemail. That we really appreciate that. The whole idea behind starting this show, this podcast to begin with, back in 2020, during COVID, during the shutdowns, was listening to, like you said, the official radio hosts, the official stations, the shows, the programs, the podcasts for the Browns, and being frustrated with it because while they could at times tiptoe around certain things, and certainly, you know, you see the clips on social media with Tony Rizzo just lambasting the team right now about not starting Shedeur Sanders and things like that. So there are times whenever you get the fan side of those people really come out strong, but it's not all the time. And back then it was frustrating listening to those shows because it just felt disingenuous at times, somewhat forced. And we thought, you know what if we, and again, 2020, when we started this thing, we had no idea it would ever grow into what it is today. So again, that is all thanks to you guys out there watching, listening, supporting, subscribing, following us on social, sharing our stuff, commenting, engaging with the show. We wouldn't exist without you. Okay. Like all of your support. That's why the Patreon is so big for us. I mean, it's $5 a month for you guys. It's really, it's like donating a cup of coffee a month to the show. But for us, it helps a ton. Every bit of support matters. And we just wanted to create a program where we're fans. The motto for the show was and still is for the fans, by the fans. We're the fans. You're the fans. We're just trying to, take what fans are feeling, what you guys out there are saying, what you're thinking, feeling, complaining about, what you want to see, and putting that in a format and using our platform to put that information and those feelings and thoughts and everything out there for the world to see, hopefully for the Browns to see, because we are not a mouthpiece for the organization. We're a mouthpiece for you guys. We're a mouthpiece for the fans. We're a mouthpiece for ourselves. So that's where, we've done like player interviews and things in the past, and we've tried to get like official media credentials and things for the Browns, but those things are really hard to do when you don't toe the corporate line, and we're not going to do that. So if it comes down to you guys can have media passes, but you need to, stop saying this or that about the team, or you need to be more positive about the ownership or the front office, well, then, keep your media passes. We can just watch from our couches. It's not a big deal. I would rather be truthful and honest about how I feel than ever have to sugarcoat anything or, taper anything off just because of what the team requires. So there will be none of that for the Dawgs podcast. I can promise you. So Sean, thank you for the voicemail from Thailand. Okay, that's pretty sweet. Going over there from the Toronto Browns backers. I just love the international scope of the Browns fan base. Number one, it's everywhere. Like you can't go anywhere in the world without running into Browns fans. It's so cool. And it's crazy that the fan base is so loyal across the globe for such a terrible team and terrible organization. But hey, here we are doing the podcast, fully committed to this thing because we love the team. We love the Browns. We're so passionate about it. Just because they suck and they make some terrible decisions, that's not a reason to stop supporting the team. Like I will bleed brown and orange until the day I die, and that's not going to change. And then the last thing here we got a message from Josh on the website. So again, if you don't want to leave a voicemail, if you're not comfortable doing that, you can still go to our website, and right there at the leave voicemail spot on the website, there's also a place where you can just type in a message if you want to do that instead and send it to us. So this is from Josh on the website. He says, I've been a Browns fan my entire life. I've seen them in 2 playoff games. It's been 3, but okay, 2 playoff games and sucked the rest of the time. This team is absolutely awful. How do you let the Jets of all teams beat you and score back-to-back special teams touchdowns? If Jimmy thinks we are going to spend money to watch this dumpster fire in a new stadium, he has another thing coming. Still love this team, but man, something has to change. Love the show. Been watching since 2020. Keep up the work, guys. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. And that's not me, Josh. I promise. I didn't write that. That's another Josh. But again, yeah, you guys can leave messages on the website. I think he speaks for a lot of us, a lot of Browns fans when he says that. Like, the team, it's just, they're hard to watch. And, Blake said it on Sunday night after the Jets game. We did a reaction show. I mean, for a lot of people, not everybody, but for a lot of people, you work Monday through Friday. The weekends are your time to get things done around the house, to do anything that you weren't able to do during the week, to spend time with your family, first and foremost, all that kind of stuff. And what you guys, to the Browns, like, you guys think we're going to just keep carving out 4 hours of our Sunday afternoon to watch what you guys are putting out there? No, I mean, you're going to lose people. You're going to lose people. Now, I'm not saying you're going to lose fans for good. I'm saying you're going to lose fans for right now. They're not going to tune into this season. They're not going to tune in to these games. A lot of people have said the only reason they're really watching is to see if Shedeur Sanders gets his chance to play quarterback, which doesn't seem like it's going to happen, at least anytime soon. Based on all the comments that have been made, I don't know. It is frustrating, but, again, that's why the dog pack has been so so important to us because it's a place where we can go, we can commiserate, we can just drop some, explicit language in there and talk about how we really feel about this team. Everybody in there, it's a good time. It's a good time. So thanks, Josh, Sean, you guys. I appreciate you guys sending us messages. I want to start, before we get into negative stuff, I want to talk about the positive. So let's go through the positive notes real quick, because we do have some. As bad as the season has been and the Browns look overall, there are good things. Number one, Carson Swessinger, 100% of snaps played on Sunday. This is just 2 weeks after suffering a high ankle sprain in that game against the Patriots. First of all, a high ankle sprain, it varies. So there's different degrees of severity. You have your mild sprains, you've got your moderates, and then you got your severes, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, the mild is maybe like 1 to 2 weeks missed. You can maybe play the next game, that kind of thing. Moderate's going to be like 2 to 4 games missed, and then your severe could be anywhere from 4 to 6, maybe an IR stint, that kind of stuff. And I believe Carson's was somewhere in that mild to moderate. It wasn't a severe, I know that for sure, type of sprain, but still a high ankle sprain. Sometimes, like the bad ones, you hear people talk about, it feels worse, the pain is worse than if you broke your ankle. So kind of to put that in perspective as far as the pain tolerance for these type of injuries, just 2 weeks after Carson Swessinger suffers his, plays 100% of snaps. Like, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. You might see a guy come in, maybe they play 50%, 65% of snaps, something in that range. But 100% of snaps, this guy is a monster. Not only did he play 100% of the snaps, but he freaking produced like he has all year. 10 tackles, led the entire Browns team with 10 tackles. He had a half a sack, and he had 2 tackles for loss. On Kalshi, okay, now this is, I don't think the ad read's going to be in this episode, but we're kind of partnering with Kalshi to do some of these, and the platform's pretty cool. I've never used it before, so if you're familiar, you know more than I do, but I've kind of gotten into there here in the last week, and it's interesting. And I did an ad read for this last week, which now I got to change it up. Carson Swessinger, before the Jets game, was just a 17% chance to win the Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think he was like 5th on the list of players that were being betted on, or not, I shouldn't say betted, I don't think that's the right term, being predicted to win on Kalshi's website. And now if you go look, one game, he's the betting favorite. He now has a 31% chance. His odds almost doubled after that game against the Jets, because he just doesn't stop. He just doesn't ever let go. He doesn't let anything down. He is 100% go every play. He's always at the football, making tackles, in on the tackle, finding the ball. The Browns truly found a special player in Carson Swessinger. I think this is we talked earlier in the season, like, this could be a perennial Pro Bowler, later in his career. That starts now. I think he will be a Pro Bowler this year. I think we're looking at a future All-Pro linebacker. That is a very significant honor to win. And I think that is Carson Swessinger. Let's talk about Quinshon Judkins. He is still the leading rusher among rookie running backs with 561 yards this season. Ashton Jeanty is right behind him at 547, but Quinshon Judkins has played one fewer game than Ashton Jeanty, who we'll see here in a couple weeks. He's got 70.1 yards per game. Again, that's the most among rookies. He has a 4.0 yards per carry average. That is not the most. It's actually way down the list among the rookie leaders. But to put in perspective, to have a 4 yard per carry average in this offense, freaking impressive, man. We have a horrible run scheme. We have poor offensive line play. Opposing defenses just stack the box because there's no threat from the quarterback or the receivers or the passing game or anything like that. So for Quinshon Judkins to still have the most rushing yards among rookies and to be averaging 4 yards a carry in this offense, dude, get this kid a quarterback that can actually play the position, threaten defenses through the air, and give us some adequate offensive line play. And I think you're going to see Quinshon Judkins do some special things in his career. Harold Fannin Jr., I got two other guys I want to highlight here. Harold Fannin Jr., of course, these first three have been rookies. He's the fifth most receiving yards among rookies with 396, just shy of 400 for the season. He leads the Browns in receiving yards, receptions, and he is second in overall targets. He's got 2 touchdowns, which, again, in this offense, that's like the equivalent of having 10 touchdowns in an actual NFL offense. Man, if the Browns had a passing game and a quarterback who could throw the ball, just be able to throw the ball. I mean, come on. You would think for a quarterback that would be, kind of a requirement. But hey, we are the Browns. Harold Fannin Jr. could be doing some incredible things. He is a dog, an absolute dog. And the last guy, he's not a rookie, but he's also a new face. So all these guys are new faces to the team. Tyson Campbell, man. Originally, we kind of thought this was like somewhat of a lateral trade move. Greg Newsome for Tyson Campbell. We did like a pick swap in there. It really wasn't that big of wasn't perceived as that big of a change. However, Campbell has so far proven to be a very legitimate upgrade at cornerback over Greg Newsome. In 4 games now with the Browns, Tyson Campbell has been targeted 16 times. He has only allowed 8 completions. That's for 50% success rate, 109 total yards, and that 1 touchdown to DK Metcalf in his first game ever with the Browns. Quarterbacks currently have a 66.9% passer rating when throwing the ball at Tyson Campbell. He has 1 interception, which was a pick 6 against Miami. The dude scored a touchdown on defense, and he's got 3 pass breakups. Now to compare with Greg Newsome. Newsome played 5 games for the Browns and had 23 targets. He allowed 15 catches for 195 yards. No touchdowns allowed, but he only had 1 pass breakup in 5 games. Greg Newsome's opponent passer rating when he's targeted with the Browns, 91.8% compared to Campbell's 66.9%. Tyson Campbell, very impressed with him so far through his first 4 games with the Browns. This episode is sponsored by W3 Schools. Have you ever wished you knew how to write web programming code? Before I launched my website design business, I knew exactly nothing about writing web code. The languages were so foreign to me, and I didn't have a clue where to begin, but that's when I discovered W3 Schools, and that's also when everything changed for my career. Right now, you guys can head over to campus.w3schools.com/dogs and use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, to get 20% off select certification collections. Now, W3 Schools is the largest online web developer site with tutorials and courses to help you learn and improve your skills in writing code. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, SQL, Python, and more. Dive into an extensive library of courses, lessons, quizzes, and interactive exercises on W3 Schools campus. Whether you're a beginner like I was when I started, or you're an experienced coder, there is something for everyone. Track your progress as you learn, revisit areas that you need to improve on, and advance at your own pace with real-time feedback and results. I can tell you guys firsthand, I would not be where I am today without W3 Schools. Our website, thedogspodcast.com, would not exist without the knowledge and skills that I learned through the user-friendly and easy-to-follow tutorials from W3 Schools. If I can do it, if I can learn it, guys, you can too. Trust me on that. Learning code could take your career to a whole other level that you never even dreamed possible. Earn credentials that show employers what you can do. W3 Schools platform offers certification exams at different skill levels, and you can see your results right away. These industry-recognized certificates help you stand out and get ahead in your career. So don't wait. I fully recommend W3 Schools, obviously, because it was the catalyst that launched my web development career. Head to campus.w3schools.com/dogs and use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, for 20% off today. All right, welcome back in. Let's talk about, unfortunately, now we got to go on the negative route, and it kind of baffles me sometimes when people will make comments and stuff on social media or in some of our episodes and be like, wow, you guys are so negative. All you guys do is talk bad about the Browns. Have you watched the team? Have you experienced the Sunday phenomenon that is the 2025 and honestly 2024 Cleveland Browns crapdom, which just never ceases to amaze at how badly this team can play at spots and how ridiculously they can lose games. But anyway, we got to talk about it, and it there's really not. I just went through the sunshine and rainbows side of things for the Browns, and it's a couple individual players. Overall, as a team, there ain't no sunshine, there ain't no rainbows. So I want to start off talking about Kevin Stefanski yesterday in his press conference. And so we debate this all the time in the Discord and everything, that, you know, Kevin's press conferences are becoming an absolute joke. Well, I shouldn't say becoming. They are an absolute joke. It's a waste of time. He doesn't say anything. And there's people that are frustrated with that. And then there's people like Blake is a strong advocate for, like, Kevin's press conferences are perfect. He thinks that he handles them just fine. He thinks they're stupid to have in the first place. Kevin shouldn't really even be up there talking to people. But he thinks the way Kevin answers questions is good because he doesn't throw anybody under the bus. He doesn't give the media any sound bites. And I pushed back on that the other day and said, no matter what he says, there's going to be sound bites. People are going to take whatever he says. They're going to take certain things out of it. And if he's not going to be genuine with the fans and the media, then we're just going to speculate on what he says. No one's going to sit back and just say, well, he didn't really say anything this week, so let's just move on and not even think about it. Like, if you're a Browns fan and you love this team and you're constantly reading and posting like I am about them, like, you're going to pull things from the comments, whether they're bland and vague or they're direct and, concise. So the one question yesterday for Kevin, and again, I think that the way he answers the questions would not be such a big deal if something changed at some point in the last 2 years. Every press conference he's given for the last 2 years has been the same thing. We need to be better. We need to coach better. We need to play better. It's more than just one person. It's the whole team. We need to get back to work. We're going to get it fixed. And then every week comes and goes, and the team still sucks. The team still makes mistakes. The team still fails, and nothing gets fixed. But he says the same thing every single week. So if you're like me, you're sick of it. I hate it. I've gotten to the point where when I see Kevin Stefanski at the podium, it makes me physically nauseous. I don't even want to hear the man's voice. I don't even listen to his press conferences. I go read the transcripts because I can't listen to him talk anymore. That's how far I have fallen off the Kevin bandwagon for sure. So let's see. There was a question. Daryl Ryder yesterday said, Kevin, this one cracked me up. What progress have you seen from Dillon Gabriel, start 1 to start 5? What areas have you seen drastic improvement? Okay, this is an opportunity for your head coach to go ahead and highlight some things about your rookie quarterback that you insist upon shoving down our freaking throats. And tell us what you see from Dillon Gabriel that you take away as a positive. Head coach, tell us. Because we don't see it, obviously. That's why Daryl's asking this question. We don't see it. We don't see the improvement. We don't see the positives for Dillon Gabriel. So what are they in your perspective? And here's how Kevin answered, or, rather did not answer that question. He says, quote, well, I think with young quarterbacks, Daryl, it's understanding that there's going to be ups and downs. Can Dillon play better? Yes, he can. Can we play better around him? Yes, we can. Can we coach him better? Yes, we can. So I understand the question, but I just trust that our young players at every position, and certainly at the quarterback position, are guys that are going to work their tails off to get better every single day. Did anybody hear in that word salad of bullshit one thing that he can point out that Dillon Gabriel has improved upon or is doing well? Nope. I didn't see it either. I didn't hear it either. It's not there. He had nothing. He didn't have an answer. If that's not the most, see, this is where like I'll fight with Blake on this. Okay, so he didn't. This is a bland, generic answer, right? It speaks volumes. This is a soundbite. It speaks volumes that you can't point out one single thing that your rookie quarterback, that you handpicked, that you designated for first team reps and opportunities from day one of minicamp after he was drafted. All this time, 5 starts in the NFL, most starts ever in college football. You can't name one thing he does well or one thing that he's improved upon over 5 starts? What a fucking joke, Kevin. You're a joke. This really grinds my freaking gears. All right. So Dillon Gabriel. Oh, actually, no. Let me back up because I did want to mention one thing from this. Okay. I wanted to find the quote about Shedeur Sanders because I think that's where we're all kind of sitting on right now is, okay, we've seen Dillon Gabriel for 5 starts. He's clearly not an NFL quarterback. Let's just forget about it. We got another rookie on the team that we haven't seen yet, touted as a first-round prospect the entire pre-draft process. Okay, we got him in the 5th round. Did we land a potential, gem, a lucky gem in the draft at the quarterback position, the thing that's eluded us for 30 years? Okay, so they ask him, Daryl, again, at the press conference, said, Jimmy Haslam said during training camp that you knew that seeing both young quarterbacks at some point this season was important. So where is Shedeur Sanders at as far as his development? And do you have a timetable of when you would take a look at him? So this is to Kevin. Do you have a timetable of when you would take a look at Shedeur Sanders? Kevin says, quote, yeah, I don't think it's fair to speculate. We're committed to getting better as an offense. Dillon is certainly committed to improving every which way he can. And all the while, all of our players, young players, are developing and working so hard behind the scenes to make sure that they're getting better on a daily basis. I'm going to get a little explicit here with you. I can't fucking listen to this guy talk anymore. This is why I don't listen to his press conferences. Shedeur Sanders isn't going to play. Unless, like we said on Sunday, there's this plan for Shedeur to have the final 4 games of the season, and that is written in stone, is the only way it's going to happen. Is Andrew Berry and Jimmy Haslam saying, Kevin, we don't give a shit what you think or what you want to do. You will play Shedeur Sanders the final 4 games. That is the only way this is going to happen, or unless Dillon gets hurt during a game. Otherwise, over Kevin's dead body are you going to see Shedeur Sanders in the game. He doesn't want him. I don't think he likes him. I don't think he wants anything to do with him. I don't think he wants him on the team. I don't think he's happy that he's on the team. I think that everything we heard, we saw the post-draft screenshot or whatever. Whenever they flashed to the Browns war room after the Shedeur Sanders picked, and everybody looked like somebody had died in the room. And then they came out afterwards when they were asked about it, and they said, "Oh, that just didn't time up, correctly with the broadcast." Bullshit. Bullshit. You mean every single other war room timed up perfectly with the broadcast? You just happened to be the one that didn't? I don't think so. This is so indicative of how they feel about Shedeur Sanders. They don't want him. They don't want him. That's what I believe. And when I say they, I'm talking about the coaching staff. And I, we've heard that Shedeur was an Andrew Berry pick, and I do think there's some validity to that, especially after he traded Joe Flacco away just to get Shedeur Sanders to move up the depth chart, because Kevin wasn't moving him up. Remember, guys, Kevin said, Dillon's our starter, but Joe's the backup. I'm not moving Shedeur up the depth chart. And Andrew Berry said, hold my fucking beer, dude. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. I'm getting rid of Joe Flacco. You got no choice. So it's a mess. It's a mess. I don't really know exactly what's going on. But again, if you're not going to tell us anything and you're going to do weird things and all this stuff with the team and in the media, we're all just going to speculate. We're just going to fill in the voids ourselves. So leave us to our own devices. We'll make up the narrative for you, I guess. But trying my best to do what at least I think is logical in this scenario. And there's nothing logical about it other than Kevin doesn't like Shedeur. So we are going to get the heaviest dose of Dillon Gabriel the rest of the season. I will not, spoiler alert for every preview game, I will not pick the Browns to win any game this season as long as Dillon Gabriel is the starting quarterback. Not even the Titans at home. Not even that one. Because I think by that time, our defense might just be checked out and done anyhow. But that's what I want to talk about with the press conference stuff that he said. I will read one thing about another comment of Kevin's later. But that's with the special teams segment. But let's stick with Dillon Gabriel here for a little bit. In 5 starts, let's talk about how bad Dillon Gabriel has actually been. In 5 starts, Dillon Gabriel has only attempted 8 passes total beyond 20 yards of the line of scrimmage. He only has 2 completions beyond 20 yards in 5 starts. Okay. One of them was that moonshot duck throw to Jerry Jeudy on Sunday that he somehow caught. Did you hear what I said? Jerry Jeudy caught a touchdown pass. I was that play. If you didn't see it, The announcers continued the rest of the game to say, what a beautiful throw from Dillon Gabriel. If you saw the play, whenever it happened live, I was watching it going, oh shit. The ball, I mean, it looked like he took all 200 soaking wet pounds of his body and threw that ball as hard as he could to the end zone. And it barely got past the goal line. It was straight up in the air, and that thing just wobbled its way down. It's like, man, I didn't know Corey Bajorquez was punting right now. Into the end zone, Jerry Jeudy had to adjust on the ball. The defender kind of tried to adjust too, slipped, fell down. Jeudy somehow caught it, and it was a touchdown. It was ugly as shit. It was such a bad pass. But I mean, who am I to complain about touchdowns? They come so infrequently. But let's look at the intermediate area of the field, the 10 to 19 yard range, and I harp on this all the time. As an NFL quarterback, you have got to be able to have success in the intermediate area of the field. Deep passing, it's always hit or miss. It's always hit or miss because as soon as you start throwing the ball past 20 yards, you're really taking some chances down the field. I get that. So that is not the end-all, be-all for a quarterback. If you're throwing under 10 yards, short passes, those are usually quick passes. Should have a higher completion rate on those. And if you're throwing screens and stuff behind the line of scrimmage, you really should be close to 100% on those. Like, there's not a whole lot of reason not to complete those passes, which is why I was so pissed when Dillon Gabriel just sailed the ball way over Malachi Corley's head. Did you guys see that play? Malachi Corley, they ran that little, I don't know if it was a trick screen play. Dillon Gabriel comes out to the left, turns, throws the ball back over to the right sideline where they had two blockers out in front of Malachi Corley, one defender who was blocked, and nothing but wide open green to the end zone. That would have been a Malachi Corley touchdown. No doubt about it. And he throws it 5 yards over Corley's head. What a freaking joke. So this intermediate area of the field, that is where you have got to be good. You have got to have success there if you're going to be a successful quarterback. Because like I said, deep passes, you're taking a risk. Every time you throw it deep, you are taking a risk. You don't really know how it's going to turn out. Short passes, you should be good at those. They're easy. Those are the easy ones. It's the intermediate that separate the good quarterbacks, or I should say the elite quarterbacks, from the good quarterbacks, from the, we're just going to be backups or maybe out of the league type of quarterbacks. Dillon Gabriel in that range is 17 of 42, just 40.5% completion in the intermediate area of the field. And we were told, another thing here, we were told that this kid was the perfect fit for Kevin Stefanski's timing and rhythm offense, which I don't even think timing and rhythm offense is a real thing anymore. I just think those are bullshit words used to sugarcoat bullshit. But either way, he is supposedly good at like play action, right? That was the Kevin Stefanski offense, play action, blah, 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 all this stuff. Play action passes for Dillon Gabriel this season, 19 of 33, just 57.6%. What if we don't run play action? The other option. So if you don't run play action, he's 83 of 141 for 58.9%. So it's about the same. It's basically the same result, whether it's play action or not. And that result, either way, is not good. The other thing, he's supposed to be this super processor we were told all about. He gets rid of the ball quick. He's on time, on target. His time to throw, when the defense is bringing pressure at him and you need to get rid of the ball quickly and have an answer, 3.2. 3.2 seconds. That's one of the highest. That is whenever you are definitely taking the chance that you're going to make a bad throw, get sacked, strip sacked, something. When the defense brings pressure, he is 31 of 61 in those situations. That is 50.8%. Not going to get it done. Let's talk about EPA, expected points added. His total EPA is negative 37.39. Where does that rank amongst all the NFL quarterbacks this season? How about 61st? 61st. There are only 32 teams, guys, which means he is essentially one of the worst quarterbacks, not only of all the starters, but of all the backups in the league as well. He's got a negative 0.18 EPA per play. That is 49th in the NFL. And according to Pro Football Reference, his bad throw rate is 19.4%. His on-target throw rate is 70.6%, which is the fifth worst in the NFL this season. Now, Dillon Gabriel also experiences the third highest drop rate from his receivers at 6.5%. Now, how much of that is due to guys being afraid to catch his freaking hospital balls? Now, I'm not excusing all the drops, because certainly a lot of them have been bad. Jerry Jeudy, I'm looking at you, dude. But I do guarantee that the hospital ball possibility plays a factor in some of those drops for these players. Dillon Gabriel only has 1,023 intended air yards over 5 starts, which is only 16 more air yards than Russell Wilson, who only started 3 games this season before being benched. And for the very, 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 very few Dillon Gabriel defenders remaining out there. Basically, the only argument that I hear from Gabriel supporters anymore is they go to the, hey, he only has 2 picks on the season. He doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't put the ball in harm's way. Not true. That is false. And that's not even remotely close to the reality. Actually, he puts the ball in harm's way more than any other quarterback in the league. And I will break down those numbers right now to show you how. So I posted this on social media the other day. Again, if you don't follow us on social media, I like to think I post a lot of good stuff over there, good information and stats and things. We are at the Dawgs Podcast everywhere, X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, everything. But I said, Dillon Gabriel on the season, 7 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. But those numbers are misleading, and here's why. Now, this is per PFF. These are quarterbacks with the highest turnover-worthy play rates in the NFL. So turnover-worthy play rates, plays that could realistically or should result in a turnover. That's how PFF tracks this. So number 1 in the league, 5.4%, Spencer Rattler when he was playing for the Saints. 5.1% is number 2. That's Tua turn the ball over for the Dolphins, and a 4.6% rate for Dillon Gabriel. So he has the 3rd highest turnover-worthy play rate in the NFL. But if you look at some other numbers along with that, like the total dropbacks for each quarterback and the big-time throw rates that PFF also tracks, it becomes very clear that Dillon Gabriel is very much probably the worst quarterback in this area. So here are those stats and where each player ranks among 29 qualifying quarterbacks. So this is among quarterbacks with at least 200 dropbacks this season. Spencer Rattler, 291 dropbacks. That's the 15th most. 17 turnover-worthy plays. Again, the total turnover-worthy plays is second. His 5.4 turnover-worthy play rate is the first, or the most in the league. He has 11 big-time throws, which is tied for the 7th most in the league. And he has a 4% big-time throw rate, which is tied for 14th highest in the league. Now we go to Tua Tagovailoa. He has 329 dropbacks. That is the 9th most in the NFL. He has 18 total turnover-worthy plays. That is the most. 5.1 turnover-worthy play rate. That is the 2nd most. 15 big-time throws. That is tied for the 4th most in the NFL. And a 4.8 big-time throw rate. That is the 9th highest. So what do those numbers mean, Josh? You just threw a lot of shit at me. Okay, so Rattler, turn the ball over, Tagovailoa. These guys had the 1st and 2nd highest turnover-worthy play rates, but they also coupled that with big-time throws and higher big-time throw rates. Tua's got the 9th highest big-time throw rate, and Rattler has the 14th highest. Meaning, yes, they're committing turnover-worthy plays, but they're also accomplishing big-time throws down the field. So they're pushing the ball down the field. Sometimes it results in a bad throw and a turnover, but sometimes it results in a big play. That is kind of the trade-off you get with some of these quarterbacks. But this is where Dillon Gabriel is the odd duck out of this whole thing. See what I did there? Oregon Ducks. Dillon Gabriel, 203 dropbacks. So Tua's got 329. Dillon has just 203. That is the 29th most in the NFL. He has 10 turnover-worthy plays, which is tied for 7th most, and a 4.6 turnover-worthy play rate. Like I said, that's 3rd highest. How does he fare in the big-time throws? Oh, you guys got to be... What do you think? Just before I give you guys the numbers, just say it yourself. Let's see. Rattler had 11 big-time throws. Tua's got 15. How many do you think Dillon's got? Here we go. 1, 2. He's got 3. He has 3 big-time throws. That is the 29th most in the NFL, and a 1.6% big-time throw rate. That is 29th in the NFL. He is committing more turnover-worthy plays without any big-time throws to go with them. He is absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Why do the Browns continue to insist upon starting this kid? I don't hate Dillon Gabriel. I want to make that clear. I don't think any of us do. I like him. I think he's a good kid. I think he's probably a nice guy. He was a hell of a college quarterback. I think that he understands the game of football. And I think he's a very good player. I don't think he's a good NFL quarterback at all. At all. That is nothing against the person. It's everything against the player in the NFL for my team. I don't need him. Don't want him. We've seen enough. This episode is sponsored by Bodden Sports. Browns fans, I know Thanksgiving is the next thing on the list, but if you're in my house, we have had Christmas decorated all over the place since November 1st. That's right. It is coming up very quickly, Christmas time. And the best thing you can do is get ahead of your gift giving list and go to boddensports.com/dogs, DAWGS, and check out everything they have to offer and use promo code DAWGS to get 10% off your entire order. You could find some really nice Christmas gifts for the athletes in your life. Obviously, baseball season would be right around the corner in the spring. They've got training balls. They've got regular game baseballs, bats, baseball gloves, all sorts of basketballs and other gear, pumps, ball bags, gym bags, things like that for your basketball players. And then the gifts that I really like to give family members and people like that would be the backyard games. Get those for Christmas gifts because then they can hold on to those and break them out when the weather gets nice. And it's like that Christmas gift that didn't get used right away at Christmas and they get to experience that joy again later in the year. Badminton, outdoor volleyball, bocce, horseshoes, kickball. They've got a knockout game set. And of course, pickleball, which I know I've been saying on here I need to learn how to play. I haven't yet, but I do plan to learn at some point, and I will be getting my first pickleball set from Bodden Sports. So head over to boddensports.com/dogs and get 10% off your entire order with promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, when you check out. That's Bodden Sports, BADEN sports.com/dogs. And by the way, for his spectacular performance against the Jets on Sunday, he has been nominated for the NFL's Rookie of the Week award, which I guess that award has no validity anymore. And I'm not kidding. He really has been nominated. I don't know how that happens, but whatever. I want to shift gears here, and I want to talk about the special teams. So obviously the special teams were the difference in the game on Sunday. The defense played very well. Defense played great. Yeah, they gave up some big plays, some big runs, and a massive screen pass for a touchdown to Breece Hall. We've been struggling against running backs a lot lately, which is why I'm very worried about Derrick Henry next week. But overall, the defense played great. When you hold an opponent or an opposing quarterback to 50 yards passing in a game, I think 6 completions? Just 6 completions in the entire game. Before the screen pass, he was 5 for 12. Think about that. Before the fourth quarter, before that big screen play, Justin Fields, the opposing quarterback, had 5 completions for 12 yards and a pick against our defense. You hear how frustrated we are about our quarterback? Imagine being a Jets fan, and that's the output you're getting from your team. 12 yards in most of the game? Oh, that's pathetic. No wonder they want to bench Fields. But like I said, the difference in the game was the special teams. We gave up a kickoff return for a touchdown, followed up by a punt return for a touchdown, and it was 14-7 before we knew what hit us in that game. And Kevin was obviously asked about this in his press conference yesterday. Now, again, here we go. The question, Kevin, I'm going to ask you about those return touchdowns. How do you stay confident in Bubba Ventrone when it has been a problem all year? And that's what I'm going to talk about here in this segment, how it's been a problem all fucking year with the special teams. And here's what Kevin said. Quote, "Yeah, listen, I have a ton of faith in Bubba. I have a ton of faith in our special teams. We have to be better. That's the case. There are ways that we can try to be better. We'll continue to coach our guys hard. We'll continue to give them the techniques to use. But I trust our guys. I trust that we'll get back to work." Fuck you, Kevin. I'm tired of listening to this shit. I'm done. Done with this. Done with this whole regime. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about how just bad have these special teams been. I got to find my post here again. This was another stat dive I did for social media this morning, and I want to talk about it here with you guys. So these are the stats and where we rank so far this season, okay? When we kick off to an opponent, which we don't do very often because we don't score very often. So usually you only kick off to your opponent once a game for sure, which is either at the beginning of the game or the beginning of the second half. After that, you're not kicking off unless you score. So we have 35 kickoffs so far this season. That's the last, 32nd in the NFL. That's the fewest. We allow, on average, 28 yards per return when we kick off to an opponent. Excuse me. That's the third most. That is the third highest average yards allowed per return in the NFL, 28 yards. Okay. So that means wherever they're catching the ball, remember we got this new landing zone and stuff. So if we kick the ball and they catch it at the 5, they're on average getting the ball at the 33. If they catch it at the 7, they're getting it at the 35. So we give excellent field position on kickoffs. And we have allowed 1 touchdown. Again, that was Sunday to the Jets. Only 3 teams in the NFL this season have allowed a touchdown on a kick return, and we are, of course, one of them. So how do we do when we punt to the opponent? Punts. If you guys don't watch that dude on TikTok, you got to go watch it, man. We're the Cleveland Browns. Yes, we are. And punts. When we punt to opponents, we have 49 punts. Again, this is because our offense sucks. We don't score. That's why we don't have many kickoffs, but we have the second most punts in the NFL at 49. 2,253 punt yards. Again, second most in the NFL. 1,793 net punt yards. That's yards after we allow the return. That's still the second most. Now, here's where it gets ugly for the punt team, because those numbers right there are an indictment of the offense. But now let's talk about the punt team itself. 46 yards average. That's what we average per punt. That is 25th in the league. So the super leg that is Corey Bojorquez is not happening this year, guys. It's not happening this year. The punt team in general, we're not downing punts where we need to be. 46 yards on average. That is 25th in the league. Here's what really sucks. This is the one that matters. Like the average punt yardage, that's great. But what really matters for your team on the field is the net average. So that is, what is the average punt, the average yardage on a punt after the return? Because there's two components to a punt. You got to kick the ball and then they're going to return it. So if you kick it 50 yards and they return it 10, that's a net of 40. That's what matters. The 50 doesn't mean shit. It's the 40 that matters in the game. Our average net yardage on punt return, 36.6. That is 32nd in the NFL. Meaning when we punt the ball, we put the least amount of distance between where we had the ball and where the opponent takes over in the entire league. We're the worst at creating distance and flipping field this year in the NFL. We have allowed 22 returns. That is the second most. Again, we punt at the second most. We have allowed 320 return yards. That is the most return yards. And we have allowed 2 touchdowns on punts. The only team in the NFL to allow 2 touchdowns on punt returns this year is the Cleveland Browns. Your average yards allowed per return is 14.5 yards. That is the most in the NFL. So Bubba Ventrone's punt team is allowing the most yards per punt return in the NFL this season. They are the worst. So when people say, oh, we have one of the worst special teams units, or where do they actually rank? They suck. They are the worst. These are the stats that matter. Punt returns, like, where are you positioning the opponent, especially when your offense can't do anything but go 3 and out most of the freaking game? Where are you putting the opponent at? You're just giving it right back. You're just letting them come and get great field position every damn time, it seems like. What about when we return kicks? So our kickoff returns. We've had 38 kick returns. That is 14th in the NFL. 901 yards, 20th. Here's the numbers that matter. We averaged 23.1 yards per return. 30th in the NFL. We are a bottom 3 special teams unit when it comes to average kickoff return yards. When our opponents return kicks, we allow the third most yards per. So we are on complete opposite ends of the spectrum. We allow the third highest, and we actually gain the third fewest ourselves, and we have 0 touchdowns. Obviously, because we haven't returned a kick since like 2001 or something like that. And our longest kickoff return this season is 34 yards. That is 31st in the NFL. Only one team, I believe it was the Rams, have a shorter long yard kickoff. I don't know if that made sense. Our longest kickoff return was 34 yards. Only one team, it's the Rams, have one that is shorter than that. That's it for us. And how about our team on punt returns? We've returned 15 punts, 16th in the NFL, 125 total punt return yards. That's 20th. Okay. The reason those numbers I don't really care that much about is because that all depends on, offenses being able to keep the ball and defenses being able to stop and all that kind of stuff. The numbers that matter. We average 8.3 yards per return. That is 23rd in the NFL. If you remember, on punts that we kick to the opponent, we allow them on average to get 14.5 yards. That's the most in the NFL. We average 8.3 yards per return. That's 23rd. 16 yards is our longest punt return of the season, and that is 31st in the NFL. We've got 0 touchdowns scored, of course, because we don't do that, and we have fumbled 1 punt. So all that suffice to say, it's pretty much all bad on Bubba Ventrone special teams. The one and only positive this season really was the blocked go-ahead field goal attempt against the Packers. If you guys remember, that set us up to go down and get in range for our own game-winning kick, which we did, and we executed successfully, and we won that game. That was a great special teams play and all that kind of stuff. I ain't hanging my hat on one play, guys. This special teams unit is the worst in the NFL. It's been bad. I should go back and see what these numbers were last year, because I know our special teams were bad last year. Special teams have honestly been bad every year under Kevin Stefanski. We bitched and moaned about Mike Prefer for the first 3 seasons under Kevin, and now we're bitching and moaning about Bubba Ventrone for these last 3 seasons. So it's there. Jake Burns said it best on the podcast a couple weeks ago. You can fire another offensive coordinator at the end of this year. That'd be 2 straight OCs fired. You've already fired a defensive coordinator. You've already fired a special teams coordinator, and you need to fire another one. At some point, the common denominator is one thing, and it's Kevin Stefanski. And there's a lot of people I hear that still want to defend Kevin, and they'll say, well, Bubba Ventrone runs the special teams. That's not Kevin. He does the offense. Kevin's the head coach. Everything on the team falls under his jurisdiction. Okay? I don't care if he's mainly focused on the offense. He's the head coach. He's held accountable for everything the team does. I swear this guy's the only head coach in the NFL who can't receive blame for when his team sucks. Dan Orlovsky the other day said that the New York Giants should hire Kevin Stefanski next year if we fire him. Why? Based on what? If you guys didn't see the news, they just fired Brian Daboll the other day. Brian Daboll's record over the last 2 seasons with the Giants is 5-24. Or no, I'm sorry, 5-22. 5-22, and he just got fired. You know what Kevin Stefanski's record is over the last 2 years? 5-21. It's the damn same. The only difference is we've had a bye week this year. We've played 1 fewer game, which we would have lost anyhow. It's the same record as Brian Daboll. The hell you want this guy for? What has he done on offense? What has he shown you? Name one thing that Kevin Stefanski does well. Put it in the comments. I need to see it because I don't know what it is. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in again on Veterans Day Tuesday. Happy Veterans Day to all you brave men and women out there. Again, just cannot tell you enough how much I appreciate you guys, how much, Blake, Justin, everybody on the show, we appreciate you guys so much. I speak for everybody when I say that. And, I just think back to Sean's voicemail about, the podcast and, appreciating, the perspective we give and everything like that. And the ability, the freedom that we had to create this podcast in the first place, the freedom that I have to continue growing it and pouring into it and working on it and making it better as I can each and every time I do this. Those freedoms, those opportunities, I wouldn't have those if it weren't for you guys, for the military people out there. And that's not lost on me ever. I appreciate you. I don't know what to say. I appreciate you guys more than you know. So thanks again, everybody tuning in. I will be doing Dog Pack Discord Live. Kenny Mack usually co-hosts that with me in the Discord live Thursdays at 5. This week we'll be previewing the Ravens which I predict to be a beatdown in Cleveland on Sunday. But if you want to get in there and be part of that show, or even if you just want to tune in live while we do it and see what it's all about, head to jointhedawgs.com, become an official Dog Pack member on the Patreon page. And even if you're not interested in the Discord and all that other stuff, the Patreon is still a great place if you just want to help us out a little bit. Donate $5 a month to the show just to help us out a little bit financially. Like, we don't typically like ask for money, but if you're willing, if you feel compelled to help support us financially, we won't turn it down. We appreciate your support because it does help us honestly continue to grow, like all the equipment, all the software, the programming, everything that we're able to use, my time put into the show, like all of that wouldn't be possible without the financial support from our Dog Pack members and everybody else out there. So thank you guys again. We do appreciate you. We'll see you guys Thursday live in the Discord. And if you're not in the Discord, you will see that episode Thursday evening after I get everything edited and published and all that good stuff. So again, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys on Thursday. This episode is sponsored by ISSA. Browns fans, if you're into health and fitness, have you ever wondered how you could maybe turn those hobbies and your passion into an actual career? If that sounds interesting to you, then ISSA has the opportunity you've been looking for. ISSA is the International Sports Science Association, and they can help you become a certified personal trainer in as little as 3 months. And right now you can get $100 off your certification when you sign up through our link, joinissa.com/dogs, DAWGS. Now, certifications are 100% online, self-study, and self-paced. You can study anywhere from your phone, tablet, or computer. And the final exam is open note, open book, aka piece of cake. Except you fitness nuts probably don't eat a ton of cake, so let's just call it a piece of delicious protein bar. And ISSA has the #1 job guarantee in the industry. If you get certified and sign up to be a certified trainer with ISSA, you have a job guarantee or your money back. ISSA has over 10,000 gym partners that have over 73,000 open jobs for trainers right now. And you don't need a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree. You just need your certification to qualify for these jobs. So what are you waiting for? With certification this simple, there's no excuse not to pursue your passion and become a certified personal trainer today. Get $100 off your certification at joinissa.com/dogs. You've wanted to make a change long enough. Now it's time to do something about it. That's joinissa.com/dogs for $100 off your personal trainer certification.